Okay, what I'm going to do is call the regular meeting of the Architectural Review Board for Old Saybrook, Wednesday, May 27th, 2026, to order. And we'll do a quick roll call. I'll read that. Andre LaFerriere, Chairman. Ed Armstrong, Secretary. Mike McGinnis, Member. And we'll move forward from here. Under regular business, I'm going to move the minutes to the end of the meeting. And I'm going to move item A, which is Saybrook Wealth Group, to the second position. And we'll start with the Kate, since you're all here. And that's a preliminary application discussion per Connecticut General Statute, Section 7-159B, to discuss the addition to the Catherine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center. And I'll open up the floor, who would ever like to begin. And if you could state your name for the for Janice, and if there's unusual spelling, just please spell it for her. That way the record will be clear.
Sure. I was just looking over there to see if we got logged in. Yes. Yeah. Okay. They're working on getting logged in there as well, so you can actually see the image.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll do you want me to briefly mention our project, just so you're
kind of you can get some background there.
Great. So my name is Brett Elliott. I'm the executive director of the Catherine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center. We have spent the last 4 years considering where we want to see the Cape go in the future based on current need and current things that have been happening. We started 4 years ago with that process. We've been working with Saybrook architects for about 2.5 years at this point, and we're coming to you today with a preliminary conversation on Chris Costa's recommendation. We'll come, of course, with the formal application, but we wanted to get your feedback on sort of that preliminary piece. Just a little bit more about the project in that regard. You'll see all the imagery and such, but it sits off the what would be the southeast corner of the building. Currently, it's 7,500 square feet approximately. Couple of the reasons why we're heading towards that is, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but it will add classroom spaces and performance space for smaller acts. Sorry, there's so much activity. Offices, which we also need a service elevator. If you've ever been to the Cape and seen anything on our stage, there is an elevator that gets you to that level. So all of those things are within the project. Certainly we'll be going into zoning for all the things like parking and all those other pieces, all those other questions. But in sort of this version, we just wanted to get your feedback on the initial designs, which were quite far along. But before we move any further, did you want to help me talk about SHPO maybe quickly? Do that, SHPO? Sure. I'll mention that. So just so you're aware, there is also an easement on 300 Main Street by SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, because when the building was originally done 20 years ago, there was state money involved. That easement goes through 2029. So they do have some input in terms of the historic nature of the building and any expansion. But I did just want to share that what you're going to see today has already been greenlit by SHPO. They are happy with the designs that we have. So wanted to share that as well.
Brett, why don't you do a little talk about how you show?
Sure, I can talk a little bit more about the Cape, of course. So some of the other reasons for growth. In the last year, we've done 385 performances at the Cape, and we've started to reach a point where we're maxed out on the things that we can bring in, and we're in opportunity trade-off a lot. So, for example, we have done more lectures with the Historical Society. They're wonderful. They're on Sunday afternoons. We've done a few of them. Some of them do 150 plus tickets. Some of them do 75 tickets. And so this smaller space that we're focused on, which is up to 91 seats, gives us another venue to be able to diversify our cultural offerings. So turning the Cape into what we're considering a more comprehensive cultural arts center, other opportunities, other things. Technology can be great, right? Sometimes less so.
Remember, it's a tool.
It's a tool. It is a tool. Yes. Yes. We use a lot of those limitations. So,
yeah. Yeah.
So Brett, the main auditorium would stay the same?
That is correct. So the theater as it currently stands, which is in the historic portion of the building, if you, for those who recall the original rectangle of the building, that is the historic portion, the lobbies and the back of the building were added on to in 2007 to 2009 when it became the Cape. The auditorium doesn't change. One of the largest reasons beyond the fact that it's the cultural or the historic portion of the building is that our patrons have already told us they don't want that space to change. It's one of the best things about the Cape. There's great legroom, it's comfortable, it's intimate. So we're not changing that, but we are changing a lot of the pieces around that. So for example, if you've ever been to a show waiting in the bathroom line because there's not quite enough bathrooms, and I'm talking a little bit more floor plan at this point, but as you come down those stairs from the theater, you can go right to the existing restrooms or left past the box office in the new version to another set of restrooms now. So we're thinking about how to support all of the operations of what we already do without touching the theater and building all the support spaces around that, but also allowing programs like our camps program to grow. Our camps program will serve about over 400 kids this summer. I don't want to misquote the number. And camps itself, the 5 to 10-year-olds, 300 spots, sold out in 10 minutes this year.
Wow.
Our 11 to 13-year-old program is already running at the middle school. And as kids age out of that program, we are constantly asked, what do we have for the 14 to 17-year-olds? The answer right now is nothing because we're completely out of space, but we're thinking about how we can bring that under one roof. And I want to make one more note. We're really looking at contiguous space, so attached to this building, because yes, there could be an empty space across town. But to put camps or another program there, it would start doubling staff. You have to have all the people over there, the resources. Even for our camps, the middle school and the Cape, separate camp directors, separate first aiders, separate assistant camp directors, because they're considered two sites. So I guess that's sort of my introduction, and I'll let Todd take over to talk or share a little bit about what the project preliminary looks like.
All right, well, thank you, Brett. My name is Todd Andrews. I am a principal with Saybrook Architects, and I'm joined by my colleague, Brian Adams today. We're part of the architectural team. So we want to thank the commission members for the opportunity to informally our designs that Brett has queued up so nicely. So we will share with you today some of the designs. As Brett noted, the Kate is part of the National Historic Register. And so with that said, Connecticut State Historic Preservation Office is one of the governing bodies that reviews the designs and additions. So we have designed the project in accordance with the Secretary of Interior's standard for rehabilitation. We do a lot of historic restoration projects and additions. And so we recognize the importance of retaining the character defining features of those historic buildings and making sure that the new architectural project is something that is in keeping with the historic building in terms of its massing, its scale, its material palette, but also wanting to differentiate from the historic building so that there's no confusion about the old structure and what's new. And so with that, again, our proposed addition, which, as Brett said, has been submitted to and reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office, they have agreed that the compatibility and differentiation are suitable for this cultural resource. So as we advance, we have some context images. So of course, this is Main Street. This is the front of the historic Kate building with the addition on the right-hand side. It was done many years ago. The back of the building also starts to demonstrate and show some of the material palette with a precast base, brick, a zinc penthouse for mechanical units. Of course, its neighbor where we are today, Town Hall. And Town Hall with its strong gable entry point, which is a very symmetrical building, but it is flanked by not only a strong gable roof ridge, but a flat roof flanking both the north and south ends of that building that has a tall cornice line with some limestone, and then of course parapet wall that extends up, punched openings, also has a strong stone base to it. So the materials, diving a little bit deeper and a closer look, this is some elements within the Kate that we've been evaluating or looking at. Again, there's a stone base, there's brick, and there's a mix of some ornament that includes not only brick pilasters, but some limestone bases, capitals, and then of course a cornice line. in there, historic punched opening windows in here. And then part of the addition includes new material, zinc, that houses some of the mechanical equipment in it. So for our material palette, we have some images here. We did bring a few physical samples, but of course we are thinking of matching the existing brick. We're also being mindful of the zinc as an element in there. And then on the right-hand side, limestone panel to match the historic elements of the cornice and some of the column capitals and bases. So as we advance or take a look at a few of the elevations, this is a north elevation. This is being looked at from the parking lot towards the town green. So you have town hall on the left-hand side. You can see the size of that. Of course, there's that flat roof, which is up over 37 feet here. And then that ridge line for the main body or gable end of the main building for the town hall has a ridge height of over 48 feet. In contrast, across the parking lot, you can see to the far right where the existing Kate ends, and then where our proposed addition comes, much smaller scale in keeping with the existing building, and it's 28 feet. You'll notice here that the proposed addition has a flat roof, so it does vary and it's distinct from the pitched hip roofs that you have on the existing Kate building, but does relate to its neighboring building with the town hall. An east elevation, so if you were at your back to town hall and you were looking at the end of the Kate building, the existing zinc gable that you see here is part of the existing fabric. But right at this break line where my cursor is, off to the left is the new proposed addition. And we'll share a little bit more with you in plan and some 3D renderings of this. So there's a mix of stone base, brick in keeping with again, the existing building, windows, punched window openings to allow for some natural light in, limestone banding, and a cap for that parapet wall.
I'm sorry, just
Yep.
beckoning to our.
Sure. And then what we'll refer to as more of the performance and classroom space. There's multifunctional spaces, as Brett had highlighted, to support Kate activities, as well as the relationship with the town and the community for the town of Old Saybrook that's here. Because this is a theater space, there was a large window on the north end, nothing on the east end, but as we roll over, whoops, to the north, I'm going to go to the south next. When we look at the south elevation, you'll also see a very large glass opening in that performance space. So this view is looking from the town green back over towards the Kate. For many of you that know, currently there's a big tent that's in front of this space that I'm highlighting here. And our addition comes right about at that break line with that black line in here. So we'll show you some more rendered views of the glassy entry. That's a transitional piece between the existing Kate and the proposed addition. That was too fast. This is a view from Main Street. There's a very large tree that exists, and so that is something that does obscure a bit of the addition, but it is set back from the historic front facade of the existing building, the existing Kate, and you can see reference of Town Hall in the distance as well. I'll show you a few more 3D renderings of the spaces. When we focus on landscape and lighting, started to develop some plans. This is some imagery of the existing landscaping around the Kate. It's very modest, hydrangea bushes coupled with some lower flowering plants and some hostas that are along the walkways and hardscape wrapping around. And so our proposed addition is in keeping with that. Additionally, you'll see some building lighting in here, shielded lighting that's providing illumination for those walkways. And some additional lighting around doorways, which we'll also share with you. In terms of the proposed exterior lighting, there are some existing lamp posts that are on the walk today. We're looking at repeating or copying 2 of those so that they promote the site lighting in the walk from Main Street towards the front of Town Hall and that main entrance. In addition to that, there's some building lighting that's being proposed. And you'll see this reflected on the plan. These letters correspond with what's on the plan, so I'll refer back to those. Yes.
Can I ask a question about the lighting?
Sure.
So can you keep it to 3,000 Kelvin? Or
Yes, I think we're aiming for warmer temperature that
Yeah.
you're referring to. So
Yeah.
yes, we're in agreement versus a.
And those are
light.
all downlight, because everything we're doing lately is dark sky.
It's dark
compliant,
sky.
So,
Okay, well, that's one of the things we'll talk about because there's two elements where we are proposing some uplight and it's open again in this informal discussion about where those locations are and why we were considering it. So this light B, cylinder light, has an opportunity to both be a downlight and an uplight. And this is one on the east elevation that has that brick facade that we were looking to provide a little bit of illumination in there. So we'll come back to that. C fixture is a light fixture for egress to support exiting out of the buildings. So that would be over a doorway. And then there are some bollards that exist today outside the town hall. And this is in keeping with the style and the match of that bollard light so that we can support folks walking from the parking lot to the sidewalk, whether they're headed sidewalk south towards Main Street or whether they're coming to town hall. And I'll refer to you that on the site plan and where those are located. So very minimal lighting on the building. Additionally, that's not shown here, there will be some downlights or some canopies over the entries that will nest some lighting again to support both ingress as well as egress. So we're now looking at a site plan. On the right-hand side is Town Hall, and this is the long sidewalk that makes its way towards Main Street. The area that is in the tan poche, that's the proposed addition renovation area. So we do come off the existing building to the south towards the green, but we've been very mindful of the addition and its relationship, especially from Main Street, so that it does not interfere with the prominence of the gable entry to Town Hall. So we've tried to keep that tucked in. We're also mindful of parking demands and what we have out in the parking lot here. So very modest, and we'll talk with zoning about the minor reduction in parking spaces to support this addition. But you can see there is an addition to the east. So orientation, north is top of the page, east is the right. We're adding some very necessary support in the building with a freight elevator. Currently, those who've been in the back parking lot know there's a very extensive exterior stair, which presents many challenges for artists bringing gear up and down. So we're going to have a much more gracious entry point, a large elevator to support that movement of gear to the auditorium stage and backstage, coupled with stair, some interior spaces, and then really what we were referring to as the multifunctional classroom and performance spaces, 2 floors of that here. So what we are proposing is some, again, very modest landscaping around the perimeter of the building, similar to what exists today, with some low shrubs, flowers, and hostas. In addition to that, an extension of greenscape. So this would be disturbed area where we would have lawn that's in keeping with the rest of the town green. You do see a sidewalk that we are proposing to make sure that there's a strong connection from that parking lot from the north to the south to reconnect to that main access point of the sidewalk. And then a slightly larger hardscape area to support pre-function when there is an event and what will be the new entry to this Cape facility that's going to support community events that are smaller and alternates to what's happening in the main theater space. As far as lighting goes, we do have a canopy over this pair of doors that there will be a downlight in, so it'll be fully dark sky compliant there. Along this sidewalk, and I'll show you an elevation, there are a couple different fixtures that we're proposing. First, there are a couple of those bollards, so that those bollards are just going to illuminate the sidewalk along the way. But we are also proposing 3 of those up-down lights for that brick facade to potentially illuminate not only the facade, but potentially some other ornamentation on that side of the building. From the front entry, there is a canopy, and in that canopy area, there will be some downlights. The other thing is, you'll see in our elevations, there is actually a low canopy at the entry point, and then there is a flat roof extension off of this glass entry point. We're considering some illumination of that, which would be direct uplight, but that would only be reflecting the canopy itself.
Another question. So dark sky says, okay, you have some uplights.
Yes,
As long as they're turned off after an event is over, after you close shop.
Yes, so lighting controls is something I often do and make sure that we're coordinating with the Cape to ensure that, yeah, when there isn't a performance, I think, by nature of very much like the front facade and the columns that are on the Cape today that have some grandeur and uplight to them, they represent a beacon when there's an activity happening. And so I think the thought is if there's an activity happening, there's some illumination, but after that, we can make sure we control it.
Yeah, I think we offered some guidelines when you put in the
Okay.
Kate sign
Okay.
to, the certain time before and after the show and so on, because there were some comments from the
That
neighbors.
makes sense. Sure. Okay. So again, very modest in terms of the landscaping and really site disruption for our connection from the existing parking to the existing gate. So these are some rendered views that hopefully give you a better context of the existing massing of the Cape, of the extension, and then you can see this transitional piece here, which differentiates itself, but still uses the same palette of materials. So what's being proposed here is a limestone panel similar to, again, the cornice lines, the precast, a glass entry point in here, canopies, so canopy over, and actually I can go a little closer. So this is zooming in a little bit closer. This line again represents the break point of the transition of where the new addition is coming. We've looked at this and studied it very carefully and ultimately landed on this design where again we have limestone paneling and similar color and aesthetic for both canopy roofs here and a glass entry point with a stair. And then, of course, there's the performance space that I referenced that has a large window on the south and north side. Yes.
Well,
2 questions.
oh yeah, no, I was just curious about the dimension on the large portion of the addition. Is anything over 40 feet?
No, that's 28 feet, if you remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
so the in comparison to the existing building, which is over
Yeah.
flat roof over 39 feet. So yeah, 28 feet is really
Okay,
the height.
and my other question, this is just a style thing.
Yep.
Probably have budget or whatever, but on the 3 bottom windows that wrap around, had you considered using that limestone bottom and just extend it around the complete building to tie up the whole thing together?
We did, and that was actually, we've studied that multiple ways, including it or not. And we ultimately felt that the differentiation of just that piece being different. You'll see on the backside when I get to the north elevation, we do extend that precast base or stone base further, but at this volume, we excluded it. So what we are picking up on is being mindful of some of the horizontal datums. And so there's going to be some intricacies in the brickwork here that pick up on those horizontal lines, making sure that we have limestone sills in, below the window, and that these pieces also will pick up on those limestone elements. So again, you can see that cornice line here. Again, we're doing it in a soldier course of brick here. So there will be some visual connection, but some slight differentiation as it's being proposed currently.
Yeah, just like to offer that, I like the design. It's a modern element and you let in a lot of natural light. And I really like your cornices.
Thank you.
That double cornice design that kind of makes it stand off.
Thank you. One thing I'll note that up here, this volume, there is a rooftop mechanical unit. So we're looking at screening to make sure that visually. We were looking at it in 2 different ways. I'll show you. This is if the screen were brick, which we do think is in keeping. So now that we've got these multiple volumes of sort of rectilinear forms going, we felt it was in keeping because it is tall. On the backside of the building, you'll see another version from the north view momentarily. Let's just get this. One alternate that was being proposed to the limestone was whether or not zinc, because that was part of the palette. So it's a slight variation in there that's being considered right now. And instead of the limestone, it would be a zinc surround. So we would carry or interchangeably change those elements. But fundamentally, the volumes, you can also see the rooftop unit enclosure there transitions to zinc. So something that we're still working with the Cape leadership to discuss, but wanted to at least present some of our thoughts with you.
Just by chance, you don't have a color of that blue. I like the blue. Do you happen to know what kind of Benjamin Moore color it might be.
Oh, this in here?
Yeah,
That's actually a zinc, and it's rendered, we're
That's the
doing our best
oxide.
to keep it close. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the zinc oxide.
Brian's going to show you an example. The intent is that it matches that back gable end of the penthouse that's
Right.
there. So it's, I don't know, I'd almost refer to it more as a freedom gray type color. It's really elegant the way it does weather. Brian's got a bag of props there that we'll at least share with you. You could bring the limestone, Brian, and the brick, and there we go.
Or we
But
could just walk outside.
although it does, it does look like a color, it may not be as blue. We're doing our best with our rendering software,
Oh, yeah.
but that's the intent of the material.
Yeah.
So it has different qualities
that I
depending on how the light
recognize,
and the brick. Okay, so I'll continue. So as we get to the north side of the building, it's this gable end that again is representative of that zinc material that we're talking about. You can see the mechanical unit and the size of that, making sure that we're getting some screening on it in there. And this is where we're wrapping the precast. So from our addition, we are running that stone base around the corner, and we're bringing that stone. But it is at that break point that we are making a transition.
But,
So
but it does
tie
give it an
together.
effect.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And we do have some lower punched windows, but because of the nature of the performance, we're limiting the windows on the east side. I'll come back to what that element, but you can start to see the fixtures that we were proposing in the site plan and the potential of uplighting.
Well, I doubt they'd probably be a custom light, or you can modify them just so that they're canted slightly inward, so it fades by the time it reaches the cornice. So
we can work
so
with
that
the
would
optics.
that could resolve that problem.
You're correct. Yes, we could definitely work with the optics to ensure that there's no additional light spill, and then of course with the control and the timing of when it's on. You also see down here in the lower level, those are the bollards that will help assist
those are
folks,
fine.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's if it were zinc. So just again, a comparison that we're still doing our studies. It feels a little bit more quiet than the zinc. So
yeah, it harmonizes a little better.
I think so too. Signage. That's another element to take a look at. So there is right now a proposal for some signage. Right now, we've been showing them as these 8-inch prismatic letters. One more prop to share. So I think we're still working on the exact naming, but this is again representative to just give an identity to this building. Something similar to these letters.
Okay.
I think are quite handsome to stand off in there. So that's that signage. And then you did get a preview earlier. One thing that we're still contemplating and we're thinking about sort of a nod to the history of Old Saybrook and the recognition of the ghost signs and the restoration that was done. Going back to the east side of the building. And because it is this blank canvas, whether or not, and this is something that is still being developed and considered, whether or not an inset in that brick paneling presents an opportunity for a mural or something to represent the theatrical performances that are happening at the gate. That's where some of that lighting may help. But we love what's been restored on Main Street with those ghost signs. And so in terms of signage, that would be other than those first letters.
There might have to be some bureaucratic acrobat moves on it just because of the size.
Sure.
And somewhere in here they talk about no billboards. Restoration is one thing, they were masterfully done, but we can probably work around that, I think.
All right. And again, this is something that I think we wanted to propose. It's again yet to be developed any further. I think one of the bigger challenges will be just even figuring out what it should be, but of course we would come back and share that with you in the event that we advance.
I like the idea though a lot.
Thank you.
Did you mention the why the windows on that wall? Or can I just mention one?
The why there's no windows?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yes. So because it's a performance space and because we are worried about acoustics, right now the two ends, the north and the south end, represent the two areas for presenters or for performance. And by eliminating the glass on the east side, we've taken out a lot of acoustic concerns and the need for drapes to cover them. And so we did have windows for quite a while. We took them away, and it's just
There'd be a lot of hard surface and they're all,
correct. And so because that the
Too angular,
reflectivity of the
yeah.
glass was going to require large curtains to be pulled around. And so
Yeah.
with that said, we decided that we would explore and see if we would be comfortable with the
yeah, we need to be
elevation.
the size of the curtains, but the weight of them as
Well,
well.
true.
Yeah, and to
right.
get your,
Right. So we've been, I think, with the concept of doing something ornamental with the brick that relates to the larger windows, we feel is a nice compromise from a performance standpoint, as well as from an aesthetic standpoint on the exterior. And that concludes where we are with our design to date.
yeah, I guess our only real, concern would be how to, and that's down the road is how to deal with that large signage,
Okay.
which I happen to like a lot. And the lighting,
And the lighting,
again, a
okay.
little bit of adjustment. Everything else is in keeping. I think it's he did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
It's good.
Great
Yeah.
partners.
Very nice.
Yeah. Started with that sign out front. I thought that was,
But in the end, it turned out good, right? A lot of questions.
oh, yeah, it was interesting getting into that project, but it turned out it was wonderful, because you had to have that anchor on Main Street. It was absolutely necessary.
Oh, the under it, you mean?
Yeah, and the way you supported it too, which was clever.
The under your historic building is want the extra security. So if a hurricane ever came through, it's got 3 points. instead of 2.
Yeah.
This one.
The last thing left standing will be the sign. No, that's, you did a wonderful job. I can't, other than those two areas, you probably won't
And we
have much
figured,
pushback
yeah,
from us other than
Okay.
an occasional comment,
sure. Okay.
So,
Well, we appreciate the feedback.
Very
I
nice.
like how it gives a modern element, but it harmonizes with the rest of the Cape, so.
it was a nice
Great
transition.
design.
Yeah, nice transition, because often, there's a harsh contrast when people have to put a more modern edition meeting code and all that on an older building, a historic building. So that's pretty impressive.
We appreciate that. It's
Okay.
been a lot of hard work from a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll be able to put a memo together on that. Yeah, okay. So we'll pass it along on that. Favorable. So,
We'll be back with the full line.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I expect to see you again.
Thank you.
No, Okay.
Disconnect.
Nice work.
Yeah, thank you for your effort. Is Jim Cohn still part of your organization?
Yes, yeah, he's
His,
retired, but we
Yeah,
still engage
yeah,
him. He's
well,
still in the-
architects just do a retire. Rick Connell, who ran SLAM,
Yep.
his son is our godson.
Okay,
And my wife kicked him into RISD when he was a student at Avon.
okay,
And Jim's stepson, Kyle, was
Yes.
one of my students.
he was. I know
Yeah,
Kyle.
And he's one of my four or five architecture students who went on to become architects.
Yes,
Oh, really?
And he's done well up in Boston, so.
he has, and he's
Yeah.
been on the Cambridge Historic Commission when I've had to present to them. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's been fun to see him on the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah, no, he was one of my best students, so,
Okay, where were you?
Avon Old Farm.
Oh, you were at Avon
Yeah,
Farm?
my wife was chair of the art department there. In fact, she's got a piece that's going to be in the Flood versus show that she was one of the pieces accepted, so.
Well, my brother went to Avon Farms and my son just graduated last year from
What's his name again?
Seth Andrews.
Yeah,
So
That
that
rings-
was
that rings-
back in, he graduated 96.
yeah.
I wound
Yeah,
up going
'cause
to, I wound up going to Kingswood.
Oh,
But
that's too
but
bad.
my son went to Avon Farms and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Great experience for him.
Yeah, no, yeah, because my wife picked, always forget her name now, but she's a really good art teacher there now. She brought the electronics data into a transition. We did the yearbook for years. My wife is honorary class of 13
Okay,
and actually class of 71.
okay.
71 was her first graduating class from there, so
All right.
I just got a copy of the Avonian. It's like,
So
oh
did
my
I.
God, who are these old men?
Well, I did some research on DNA Pope Riddle and I did my thesis on Avon as on a student center for Avon Home Farms.
Yeah,
Many years ago when I was at Syracuse.
Yeah, well, Rich used to, he went to RISD, he
Yep.
did the 5-year program and went over to Rome for a year,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he did the walking tour of the school all the time. And it was one of his past relatives was involved somehow way back, knew
Okay.
theater or the
Yeah.
family, whatever, so it was kind of interesting.
I knew Rich well from the independent school world.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I live on the Avon Farm to line.
Oh, you do?
Avon Home Farm property
Okay,
is behind it.
Yeah.
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 I played hockey there my whole
The
life.
only
Yeah.
thing that annoys us now is
We live near the
that,
hockey-
that road
The new-
relocation.
The
drives us
rotary,
nuts.
it's quite the project that they're under.
But it's awful, it just.
Taking away that quaint little road.
Yeah, it
that-
took away that country, approach to the, because actually Gail's got a pallet on there, Flugler's pallet tree too of the tower.
Well, the silo and yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, a water tower, but Theoday couldn't put it out there. She just felt guilty about it. So that's why she made it look like a silo.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of weak. They took out the tower inside because the weight of the water was so heavy.
No
So they
kidding.
put in underground cisterns right on that green that's out by the old Farms Road. So,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That is neat.
It's a small
That's the way to
world.
know. Oh,
I
yeah,
live
it
on
is.
the Miss Porter's campus now.
Oh,
because
that's
My
so
wife
funny.
teaches there.
Oh,
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we know someone that taught there or.
Sigourney
maybe
Weaver
did.
was there.
Well, the prep school world is very small,
It's a very small world.
smaller than you think.
I know.
Anyway, nice presentation. I'll have to let my wife know. Gentlemen,
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
I appreciate your
yeah,
time.
certainly. Good luck with that.
Thank
Oh, we have another color?
No, we don't know.
Yeah, I'd almost, if you're gonna stick with the blue, I'd almost go with that.
Yeah.
It's more complimentary.
Anyway, I guess we should.
Yeah,
Good evening.
go ahead.
My name is Philip. As you may know me, maybe I am
Besides,
administrator
yeah.
of Mystic Market. I've been setting my siding display there for the last maybe a year. I had the opportunity to present my product to Steve. He kind of like what we're doing there. And here we are. I want to present this product. This product is kind of new. Not exactly new. There is another product in the market similar. It's made out of ASAC. Just to clarify something, ASAC is the brand. It's a brand. It's not the actual product. The product is PVC. We process these shingles out of PVC sheets. I have some unfinished pieces in here. So you can see them.
Yeah.
This piece is like a halfway through.
Hmm.
I don't have another one. I don't have three.
No worries.
Yeah.
That piece is pretty much we got. Oh no, another one in here.
Yeah.
Just in case if but we got a piece like this with slices with our machinery. Create a piece, then we create the texture.
Now you manufacture this?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. I'm buying the sheets and then I manufacture everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
After we got this piece is ready for finishing.
Mhm.
We can apply semi-translucent stain like this. We can apply solid colors and we can match any color from Benjamin.
Oh.
Okay, and pretty much what I propose, do you have, you have the rendering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we propose is cedar color on the siding, white trim, and navy blue Benjamin Moore. Okay?
Which is the blue that's there now.
What is the
Facade.
blue? Mhm.
Yeah, that blue now looks much darker than that. Yeah, it looks black from the street almost.
Mhm.
I think we were looking at one step up. If you were gonna stick with that and this particular color here, this, yeah, it's just because of your proximity toward the gate is really a lot of our concern too. Now, according to this, you're gonna cover the whole building except the front, right?
We're going to cover, exactly.
Yeah.
The front is going to be PVC paneling as well, but
Yeah.
we're going to pre-finish. We propose in navy blue, but that's up to you if you have
Yeah,
to discuss with them.
I don't have a problem changing the the hue of the blue. I had just.
Yeah, you can say with blue, right? If you want
guys
blue,
had
you got to
approved
blue.
When I painted it
Yeah.
the first time, so.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, blue is fine. It's, as I was going to add earlier, very often what you'll see in an older facade like the one you have, you'll see green. Green actually goes with this stuff great. It's a complementary color.
Yeah.
Okay, from a design point of view, it's a better combination than the dark blue in that.
Would it be a dark green or?
It'd be kind of a dark green, almost like an Essex green, okay? But that's what you'll find in a lot of the older communities that have nice cornices on the buildings and all of that because of the way it was manufactured at the time, because you had your ochre and you had your cobalt, actually, because you had to buy smaller quantities of it when they made the paint, it was less expensive. Blue at the time, in the late 1800s, in the late 19th century, cost was different, and blue was far more expensive because they had to ship it by sailboat. It was fairly expensive, but the other was not, because you could get it locally. It was manufactured in this country. So you'll see a lot of green, and just as a complementary color, I think if you stayed with that colored shingle, I think a nice dark green like an Essex green. I don't have any color chart. I didn't bring my color book with me. But something like that would look nice. Or if you were absolutely in love with it, I would say go to a lighter one. You have to bring up because we're looking not so much for the color as for the harmony. And that's part of what we have to do, which is why we're having this discussion. Because you saw what they're going to be doing with the
Oh, I'm very excited.
So that's pretty impressive. And so we want to make sure now that you have an opportunity, to kind of stay in tune with what they're doing. And actually it was Wayne Harm's wife who was behind the restoration of those ghost signs. So, that building looks nice too with the cream color and the brick, and it's a much lighter color, and that keeps in color. The only difference on that, the set of facades, is nori, and that's a darker wood, which is why that could live there. I don't know if you agree or not, Ed.
I'm looking for Essex green. I'm trying to get a sample.
Yeah, Essex green.
I found Benjamin Moore, but it almost looks black.
Yeah. Yeah, they have lighter shades of that. Just like you've got this. What is it? Rainstorm, downpour blue. Okay, so you've got different steps. You can go to a little lighter one would be a better contrast with that. Like one step, just like this is one step lighter than what you were picking here. Okay, you could go to a green in that range as well. That would look far more historic.
Yeah, we wanted to.
Than blue, because you won't find, if you went back in time and if you were to actually even look at old paintings, you'll see a lot of them were just green. Okay, and that would be again in keeping with the facade of the Cape and the facade of the corner buildings on your block. Nori's nori, but they did at least go to stained wood on the front,
Yeah,
and they have gray too, which is a neutral color.
So the only green that's popping in my head is, I had a Volkswagen that was called British Racing Green.
Oh,
So,
yes,
and
I
it's
like
green,
Volkswagen,
it's a
yeah.
dark green,
Yeah, it's lighter than an
Triumph.
Essex green.
lighter than what?
Triumph green.
Huh?
Triumph green.
Well, yeah, that's a British green.
TR6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law had one.
So that kind of a deep, I'll call it a deep green, would go well with
Yeah.
that color.
Yeah, deep. Yeah, that goes particularly well though with the. Let me look for. Let's go right to what.
Here you go.
To find it. Yeah, something like that's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
perfect. That's
yeah.
a perfect green to go with
Well,
that.
and that reminds me of the homes what inspired me to
Here you go.
suggest to him, and the reason why I like the cedar look is
Yeah.
frankly, I like the way homes look in Fenwick, and I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of have
And
that.
it's that
classic.
kind of a,
Exactly.
that's kind of a green.
So
So there's
I don't
more
have a
hum.
problem going to the green. It's, I do like
And
the
nice
the
with the-
cedar.
Yeah, but that green would go fine with that.
Yeah.
That's not a clash.
Mhm.
And, again, it would be really historic. And also, as a marketer, typically blue would be associated with healthcare. Green would be finance. So, that's why a lot of banks use green in their logos for that very reason. It has a psychological basis.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not blowing smoke. I've done this for a living. So, it does work. Otherwise, if you were to stay with the blue, what would go good with that would be that gray. you know, and that might just drop off, you know. I like that with that green.
Yeah, so
I
I
think that-
frankly, that sounds good to
I
me.
don't know, think so, Ed?
Yeah, I think that would be classic.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Yes, that would be classic.
Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly.
And then it'll just fit. Now you meet our mandate to try and harmonize the buildings as much as we can. The only thing on your rake board and your flashing and your corner boards, that's generally plain, but on your rake and your flashing, I don't know if you machine your
We fabricate everything on site, all the flash.
you know, because if you could put a little bit of ornamentation, and I looked at the cornice on the flat portion, your front portion of your building. I know the standard in here is a minimum of 6 inches, you know, so if you could have a little wider, yeah, because it's not very wide right now. It's got some ornamentation on it, you know, but if you could see your way to make, you know, maybe an 8-inch cornice with some kind of a molding, just to, you know, again,
Like a boot in the bottom,
yeah, no, this is the cornice on the top edge
The
of
frizz-
the flat
the freezeboard.
Yeah,
We propose in
Yeah.
freezeboard in the bottom, skirt, I call it skirt in the bottom,
Yeah.
and freezeboard on top.
yeah, the freeze board, have it a little deeper than it
Okay,
is. Right
layers,
now,
okay.
it's kind of shallow. I'm thinking at least 8 or 10 inches, you know, just so it's a little more and it'll carry that. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not significantly more expensive. So if you're gonna do it, it's labor. So,
Yeah,
you know.
well, the other thing I haven't mentioned to you is that, and it's not on the drawing, but when you look at the front of the building, there's like an architectural detail.
Oh, that's a nice,
That
Oh,
is,
that's
like I was
the-
looking on the Historical Society photos of the building and that was there. I
that
wanna
is a
keep that
nice,
look.
don't lose that.
No,
And
Yeah.
then,
I call it gable bracket.
yeah.
Yes, it's,
So
yeah,
we're
don't-
gonna leave that.
yeah, we're gonna leave that, yeah, we're going.
Yeah, I'm glad you
we're gonna
mentioned
have
that,
fabricate
'cause-
everything
yeah.
out of our PVC.
Yeah, because that's a really nice feature on there. Again, with that'll look really nice.
Yep. Mhm.
So,
Now, would we be painting, would that stay white or would that?
It depend now, what I proposed you in the quote was keep the PVC white,
Right.
just the front, blue.
Yeah.
Front, just
But
front.
now we're going to have pre-finish all the trim as well.
So would all the trim be green and the front be green?
That is what we have to determine here.
yeah,
Let's see.
white trim.
you could still white.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
did-
keep the white, yes.
Yeah, so you can stick with the white trim. And that way you'd get some nice contrast with that too. I think it'll look pretty sharp.
Which is
Yeah.
the paneling,
Yeah, it's just that if you put a little bit of that ornamentation, you know, like, yeah, the freeze board and you have like a molding along the top, you know, that would look nice. It'd be
Very nice.
then it would be a real period piece. It'd look great.
like a rake molding or a round crown.
Yeah,
And now I have a problem with, I mean, the wood is rotted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I was painting it before, it was squishy. So it's got it, that's why I'm excited to use this.
yeah, no, this material, that's,
Water that hits that all the
This
time.
will last
And
forever.
the other side of it is because, and I didn't realize when I got the building, but there's a lot of dirt that gets kicked up from traffic on
Oh,
Main
yeah.
Street.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to constantly keep the front facade clean. I'm washing the windows at least once a week.
Wow.
But the wood itself just holds the dust. So
Yeah.
having something like this where I can just wash it down before I can get the.
yeah, no, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
It'll last forever.
This will last forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
Oh, that's what your warranty is, right?
That's the only problem I have.
Okay, anybody?
Any
No.
document
Design
is going
review.
to buy
Is it
one
done
from me.
review?
Yeah.
It's like-
That is done.
it's like-
Yeah, okay.
Is motion to accept?
After they put it up.
That's it.
Application is
That's it.
presented
Yep.
yeah,
with the suggestion.
yeah, okay.
When you do wood, when you do vinyl,
Yeah,
we have 2-3 chances in
yes,
the next 50 years
yes.
to put it again.
Okay, we're gonna do a motion here and make this official. So I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the application as presented with the recommendation that we use a green in the British racing green tone as instead of the blue, that the color of the shingles is fine, that's okay. And to add a larger detailed cornice around along the front edge of the flat roof. And then he's just gonna do the rake and the trim boards, no, you know, the fascia. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Great.
Cool.
You got it.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Good luck. That's a nice,
Material.
nice decision. Nice decision. Are you gonna put more of those stands up?
Yes, I still have permit for a few more, but they became really expensive to build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm expecting,
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone cost me about 5,000,
Ooh,
wow,
wow.
really?
just because I did a metal frame.
Oh,
The
yeah.
metal frame was $800 per piece.
No, we thought it was a clever idea, you know, and then I saw you start and I'm like, it's only one or two and.
Then I said, oh boy, it's getting pricey.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's what got me. I was grabbing lunch and I'm like, ooh, that looks good.
That's my point, that people have to see.
Yeah, if you
quality.
can look at a panel that size, you know, it's fine to look at this. You know, I can look at a color and get a pretty good idea, but you know, the average buyer, even business person who's doing something completely different is gonna say, yeah, you know, that'll be more impact,
Yeah.
you know, so. Okay, yeah, that's great.
Thank
There you
you.
go. So,
Okay,
You put some help carrying some.
yes, I will need some help. Yes, this was the paint that we
that's the biggest
using,
sample that's ever been
but if you
turned
don't
in.
need information, this
Impressive.
peach paint,
Oh,
yes, main Pennsylvania. Yeah,
Great.
look at the nice logo.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I tried to do the marketing really clever.
You did good, you did
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
yeah, see, that's real gold on his shirt.
that's real.
Okay, now we want,
I'm a little bit obsessed
minutes.
with the gold, but it looked nice.
It does look nice.
It does look nice.
Okay, without objection, I'm gonna enter minutes of last meeting, into the record without
Okay.
objection.
Second.
All right.
Yeah.
Go there in. And the last we need is, motion to adjourn.
I would motion that we adjourn the meeting.
And come back, Labor Day, after Labor Day, right?
Any second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.